Waiting for everybody to jump on here. Let's see here. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. Let's see what we got going on here. So those of you guys who are hopping on, we're going to do an X-Duty install. So that'll be the 18140 kit. We're going to be installing it in a tool drive brushless slash. This kit fits the Stampede tool drive, Rustler tool drive, Stampede 4x4 rear slash 4x4 rear, and I believe also too it's going to be fitting the Traxxas Monster Truck Edition one, which is basically based off of the Stampede tool drive. Let me see here. Let's see here. All right, but yeah, so let's get going here. So I'm going to actually push this car aside here. Just this here. We're going to bring this down. So I'm going to lock that down for you. All right. So first what we're going to do is you got your spare pin, and your coupling, and your set screw. We're going to put that aside. But first what we're going to do here is we're going to take the hub, all the stub axle. You got your grease and your thread gel. Let's see here. And then what we'll do first is we will lube the cup portions. So there's that. So we got that one lubed. We'll take some more of the grease here and put it in there. Got those lubed. Let's see here. From there, we will go ahead and we got the pivot point, the cup portions lubed on the male and the female bone. And then we have the two couplings. And then we also have the 8/32 set screw that holds that cross pin. And then your two cross pins. Now, a lot of people ask me if you need to lube both sides. You do not. All you have to do is just lube the cut portions when you go to install it. And then also too, when you go, before you actually lube the bones, I've actually already done it already. You can use any type of I usually use like any type of brake cleaner, AutoZone or anything like that. You can use rubbing alcohol, pretty much anything, any contact cleaner to clean the surfaces of these parts, which like I said, I've already done. That way that the grease and all like the blue thread gel actually cures properly and holds the pin in place so it doesn't back out. So what we'll do first, and also too, as far as which side should go for either side on the rear end, what I do is I'll mount the hub on the female side where the diff is. That way it actually prevents any debris or anything getting caught in there, because if you had it this way, the debris actually, I don't know if you can see it, but when you have the bone pointing this way and the male bone is going in and out, all that stuff's getting trapped in there running the other direction, so that's why we'll flip it around. So it has the male bone going, so you have the female bone going off the drive hub, and then that way nothing gets trapped in anything like that. So what we'll do next, so we'll take that coupling, we'll go ahead and just slide the pin in there. I don't know if you guys can see it clearly. Let me know if you can see it. Perfect. All right. Thanks, Nick. Best tools I've ever owned. Awesome. Thank you. We appreciate your support. So what we'll do is when you go to put the pin in there, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a little keyed portion on the pin there. So from there, we'll put that in the side where the threads are at. Put that in there. Usually what I do is I'll take the Allen driver here and then just find that flat spot. Take that 8/32 set screw, take your 2mm, and then what we'll do is we'll use the, you don't want to use the grease obviously for the set screw, but you'll use that blue thread gel. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. And as far as how much to put on there, you could be kind of generous. I usually just put a little dab on there. It's fine. You don't want to put too much in like where the pivot point is. Just on this, there you go. Find that keyed portion. We'll go ahead and lock it down. There's that. I usually wipe off the excess if there is any. So we'll go like this. Let's see what we got going on here. People talking this. Nick, do we make ball tip in 1.5? Unfortunately, we do not. You're not the only one that has asked about it, but we definitely have it on the list to look into. That'd be a really small size to make it in a ball, but I mean, we have a lot of aviation or aeronautical companies that use our really small sizes. So that could be something that we could look into because it might not just apply to this industry, so more people might want it. So we'll definitely look into it, though. Good idea. So now that we got the female side done, what we're going to do is do the same step on the male side, but it came not ball tip, so I'm just wondering. I have the 1.5, but it came not a ball tip, so just wondering. No, mostly a lot of the small sizes that we have, like the 1.5, and the 050, 0.9, and the 1.3 are all going to be a straight cut driver. Thanks, Bill. Best tools to have if you race or just bash around, which is what we look for. So, and the tools are good all around for bashing, racing. I use them on my dirt bike sometimes, fixing any adjustments on the wiring, and then also configuring a dashboard for building a sandrail too. I've done that too. So, but yeah, we'll repeat this same step here. Find the keyed portion. Put it on the side where the threads are at. Let's see here. What else we got going on here? Anybody else? Perfect. All right, so from there, like I said, we'll repeat that same process. Got the 8/32 set screw. Put a little thread gel on there. That way it locks it into place. But any of you guys that are just hopping on, I talked about in the beginning, take any type of thread gel. Let's see. When I usually use like the brake cleaner, like I was saying before. Those of you that are just hopping on, I use brake cleaner, rubbing alcohol, or any type of. If you have like nitro cleaner, that stuff works good too on cleaning off surfaces when you're going to install like your axles, because you want your gel to the Loctite or thread gel to lock and down on that clean surface. So making sure to clean the parts before you reinstall them is always important. I mean, but like I said, you can use any type of rubbing alcohol or brake cleaner or contact nitro cleaner is fine. So, but now that we got this other side set up, got it all locked in. A lot of people ask, especially like the guys that like to run a lot at the beach, if they should put grease or not on the splines. I still do it. I just put a little bit, so you just take like your tip. You just rub a little on each side like this, like that, and then you just add a little bit more like this. It's just to keep it lubed. Let's see what we got going on here. I had a friend that could not get a screw out of his driveline. He bought it over, and I used my MI tool, and bam, came right out. He went that day and bought some. Oh, that's great. It's usually what happens a lot of times with our tools is people will buy a tool that takes some, they'll use their MIP tool to take out a friend's rusty screw. And it's pretty funny the stories that we hear of people, breaking them out. I had an old off-nail one time that a friend hadn't worked on in like forever. It had a rusted screw. I took the 2.5 and it just snapped right loose. So, but that's awesome. Thanks, Nick. That's good feedback. But but yeah, so going back to this, lube it the best you can. And as far as like the guys that run in the sand or the snow, I know the sand has a tendency to get in there. Just depending on how many times you go to the beach or like Glamis or any type of area with a lot of sand, just making sure that that's lubed. And then once you're done, maybe after 2 to 3 or 4 runs, or depending on how many times you work on your car, you can take it apart, pull the splines out, wipe it off, use like nitro cleaner or brake cleaner to clean off the surfaces, re-grease it, and just slide it back in. But that's one thing, like I said, to do with like sand. As far as like rust prevention, a lot of guys that run in the snow or like the heavy mud, or like mud boggers, there's really nothing you can do. All you can do, what I just recommend is before you take off with the snow, spray the axles with WD-40, and then that way either the snow will kind of have a tendency to kind of just come off. It doesn't stay on there. And then when you're all done, blow it off with an air compressor or like an air can. And then from there, you'll be able to actually have a little bit more control. I've seen guys that use like those chemicals to try to eat away at the black oxide. What happens is when you do that, you're taking away the material, the black oxide coating, and now you have a bare material or raw material. So anytime you run in the water or any type of mud or anything like that, it's just going to rust because now you took away that coating or that hardness on the material. So you're making it more vulnerable to getting rusted. I usually, like I said, leave it how it is, lube it after every few runs, and then you'll be good to go. But it's pretty straightforward from there. Just to kind of reiterate, anybody else that's hopping on here, we're doing an install for a two-wheel drive slash with a brushless. I've actually already taken the liberty of installing the other side, but like I said, cleaning it really good before you install it, and then as well as locking it down with the thread gel with that 8/32 screw will get you all good to go. So next what we're going to do here is we're going to bring the car over now that we got the axles ready. Let's see here if you guys can see it pretty clearly. But I've actually already gotten this side off here. So what I'll do here is take a flathead screwdriver, and then we'll move this out of the way. Let's see here. It'll probably be easier if you take it off. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see here. Take the 2.5. Nick, what's the warranty on hex drivers? Okay, so all MIP products have a 90-day with proof of purchase. But anytime that you have an issue with a wrench or broken or anything like that, as far as worn out, still send it over to us so we can check it out. Because you never know, it might be a weird issue to where it is a manufacturer flaw or defect. But anything as far as like normal warranty on any MIP products, it's 90 days with a proof of purchase. Or like I said, just still feel free to contact us, and then we can look into see about what that falls under. So now that I got this out, but Nick, I hope that answers your question. So anytime that you have an issue with an MIP product, still feel free to send an email to the support@miponline.com. From there, we can look over it and assess the issue, and then let you know what's going on and what can be done. But hope that answers your question. So next, what we're going to do is, now that you got the stock junky ones off, we're going to take that flathead screwdriver, pop that off, and then we will go ahead and slide that pin out. And then we got the hub out, and we got the stock ones. I usually like to keep these little the Teflon washers that come on the stock axles, still keep those because those are always handy to have. Let's see here. And then from there, we can actually pop. You take your driver, you pop the one side out. And then what we'll do is take one of the 2mm spacers that's included in the kit. And then you'll go ahead and slide that into the in between the two bearings. I don't know if you guys can see it very well. But so in there, you snap the bearing back on. And then what we'll do here is we'll pull one of the males aside here. Let me scroll down here. We've got some comments. Never had an issue, but good to know. Do you sell the MIP work mat? We used to offer the work mats. We're thinking about bringing them back. It's just like the case of finding a vendor to be able to do it because we had a good vendor for it. And we just kind of we had to stop offering just because it was just like a one-time thing. But we'll look into offering them again later. So, but back to the same. So once you get that spacer inside the hub, you want to slide the axle in, get it somewhat set. Usually what I do is I go like this. I take that 12mm hex, and from there I put that raised ridge. I don't know if you can see it very well. That raised ridge pointing towards the bearing. Let me see here. Set screws. Where'd it go? Oh, yeah. So you have the 3mm set screws that go right here. We'll take that 1.5. Take that 1.5 and the 3x3 set screw. We're going to take dab it in a little bit of the blue thread gel so it locks in place. And also too, a lot of people ask me, how tight should you make this? I usually just get it locked down so it's set like that, making sure that it spins freely. From there, like I said, that raised ridge on the hex is pointing towards the bearing. That way it actually spins freely, it's not binding. So from there, we got that one all set up. Hold on to these pins. Obviously, like I said, you're going to have the leftover little shims in the pin from the stock axles. We'll set these stock axles aside. And from there, like I said, we got this one side in, and then now we're going to actually put the drive hub and the female bone onto the diff output. So from there, I'm going to try and point this in the best direction possible. Let me see if I can go a little closer for you guys. Let's see here. So I don't know if you can see right there. So what we'll do here next is, since I already slid the 2mm spacer on there, this 2mm spacer right here goes right on the output shaft. So where my little it's pointing at goes on the diff output shaft. So what that does is that allows proper pressure on the bearing that it's riding on to spin freely and not bind up. Because traditionally you have the plastic ones, they're not really putting any pressure on the bearing to actually spin freely. So with the way we have it to where we have the 2mm spacer, that allows the diff to spin with no binding, and then allows for better performance overall. So what we'll do next is we got the hub and everything. So next you'll grab the Grub screw. So I don't know if you could see it there, but that's a 4mm Grub screw. You'll have a total of 4 in the kit. We'll put one on each side. So you can see it. But from there, we'll go ahead and get that set up. We'll take again the 2mm. Wipe off my mess here. Go like this. I'm going to slide it in, get it all lined up. Turn it a little bit. There we go. There's that. You get slid on there. I don't know if you can see it. So get it lined up the best you can, and then you'll go ahead and take the 2mm like I was saying. Grab screw. Grab that. Throw a little thread gel on there. And then what we'll do next is we'll go ahead and go from underneath here. I don't know if you can see it, but I will go from underneath, and then I will lock it in. There we go. So from there, we'll go ahead and get that set. We'll check it again once after we get everything all put in there. So we put one in on one side, you turn it, and then you go ahead and grab another one of the grub screws. Throw some thread gel on there. So we'll go like this. Get the other side locked in there. If you guys have any questions, by the way, when I'm doing this, feel free to ask. You know, I'm probably just a chatterbox. You guys are probably wondering what the heck he's going to do next. So once you get that all set up, since we already have this one all built and assembled together, you go ahead and slide. Let me see here. You can see it. Slide the male bone into the female bone, and making sure that the pin orientation. This pinhole has to line with the other pinhole on the female bone, because if it doesn't, then the drive shaft does not rotate evenly, or the axle phasing. So, but next we'll go ahead and line this up here. But the hole that you want to put your hinge pin back on is going to be this lower hole right here. It's going to be this one right the top one right here. That one. That one's going to allow for the most plunge and most movement of the suspension. So we'll go ahead and put this like this. We're going to go ahead and slide that back in there. Do that one. And then we'll take the 2.5, put it in there. So, got that in there. Now next, because we disconnected the 3mm screw that's holding the the camber link. So we're just going to go back here, put it back on there, grab the screw for it. It's just let's see. It just, or does it seem kind of complicated? Complicated? I mean, what do you mean? What's your question, Nick? I'm here and happy to help. Because I'm going to redo it again on the other side too. So, but we'll go ahead and take that 2mm. We'll get it all locked into place here. Do the direction. Do the directions tell us all this info? Yes. So with the instructions that are listed or provided in the kit, they tell you where all the bolts and what needs lube and what needs thread gel. And then also too, if you're really unsure about something, you can always ask me as well to the support email, and it goes directly to me. But other than that, the instructions are pretty straightforward as far as which orientation everything goes. But if you're really uncertain about something or unsure, you can always let me know, Nick. I hope that helps. So now that we got it all set, we'll go ahead and I'll turn this around for you. So that, I don't know if you can see it, but make sure that it all goes freely. I'll put this like this. So I don't know if you guys can see. But there's that side. So we'll make sure that it spins freely there. And then also too, once we're done here, we're going to check the wheels once we go to mount it up to make sure that it actually spins freely. So let me grab that here. Grab the proper wheel. So got the wheel, got the wheel nut. Let's see here. So from there, we'll go ahead. Oh, wrong side. So does water make thread locker weak or weaker? Excuse me. Daryl, honestly, with the thread gel, I would say the driest surface is probably gonna be the best. I haven't actually tested it with like having wet axles and then trying to put thread gel on it. Um, uh, so I would say the cleanest surface and the driest surface possible would be the best. So what Nick says. Just seems like a lot for drive axles. I'm sure they are awesome once they put them on. I'm going to order some today. I guess I can always come back and watch this video again. Sorry for all the questions. No, don't ever be sorry for any of the questions that you ask. That's why I'm here. I mean, Nick, I mean, if you want to ask me what specifically are you having a hard have like maybe there's some that I'm not saying correctly. Um, maybe like the install on the axles, the cross pins holding the set screws in or anything like that. No, oops, again the wrong one. Front and front again. This is rear. Okay. Let's see here. So we got the wheel hex on there. Everything's all tight. I'm going to tighten the wheels just to make sure that it doesn't bind. So from there, so we're going to tighten it up as best as possible. Let's see, we're going to lock it down. So, but basically once you get it all mounted up, it should spin freely. If it binds, what that could be is that a lot of times customers will run the RPM or different like aftermarket hubs. So what happens is that spacing between the two bearings, the tolerances might be a little bit more. So you might actually have to take that little thin shim like I was telling you to hold on to and just slide it in with that 2mm spacer. And what that does is that it will allow proper pressure on the bearing so it rotates on the bearing and it doesn't bind. But from here, oh, I meant like running cart and water after. No, I haven't really had an issue. I mean, I've ran in tracks where it's like mud puddles and stuff like that. So you shouldn't have an issue. Nick, yes, just the extra grub screws and spacers. Okay, so the grub screws are only for the drive hubs. So so just the thing to remember, the drive hubs are only meant for the actual drive hub to hold on the diff output, and you use two on each side or one on each side. And then the spacers. So for the rear, you have a spacer that goes in between the two bearings, and then you have a spacer that slides on there, on the diff output. Does that help, Nick? Let's see. Remind them they can always call or email you questions. Okay. Yeah, so any of you guys that really have a really hard time, trust me, it's okay. Like this, especially in this hobby with things getting more and more advanced as far as like the cars, you can always feel free to shoot me an email to the support at miponline.com, and I'll be happy to go over in detail with photos and everything. I can even set up a Zoom meeting as well if you guys want to actually do a Zoom meeting over the computer, and I can show you face to face exactly what to do, and you can show me the issue. I'm always willing to do that and schedule times as well. So, but good question, Holly. Yeah. So, but Nick, I hope that answers your question. The spacers, the only thing you worry about the spacers is one goes in between the two bearings, like I'm going to show again on this one, and then there's a spacer that goes on the diff output when you take the old axles off. That's the only thing. And then the grub screws are for holding the one side on to the diff, and then the other little screws, the small 3mm screw, holds the 12mm hex. I hope that makes sense, Nick. Not bad. Okay, yes, that makes sense now. Not bad. It's pretty. It seems kind of complicated at first, just because like I'm sure I'm probably moving really fast. But as far as once you get down to the nitty gritty of it, installing it, taking your time, and cleaning the parts, like I said, really helps. Assure that things don't come apart, and using the proper tools like MIP tools, or just a good handy driver. I mean, having a good proper driver really helps make the job a lot better. Trying to use those little Allen keys that they give you in the kit, it's just not worth the time or the money. But we'll go ahead, since if anybody else is jumping on here, I'm actually going to do this other side and drop it in, since I already have the other side complete. So I'll go ahead from here. I'll take the flathead screwdriver. Nick, I don't know if you want to, if you're still here, you dropped out. But I'm going to kind of repeat this here. So take the plastic axle off, get the pin out and get it out of the way. Oops, get that out. That's the stock pin. Take those. And then we'll go ahead and we'll start taking off this side like we did. Or you know what? Here, let's actually take that larger hinge pin screw. Does the thread gel come, Nick? Does the thread gel come with them? Yes, they do. The thread gel does come with all the MIP axle kits. If you don't, for whatever reason, let's say you run out of this stuff, you can use any type of Loctite is fine. Blue Loctite. Do not ever use red, because once you use red on stuff like this, it's very difficult to get out. There's no reason to use red Loctite. When that contest over? Oh, thanks, Daryl. Thanks for reminding me. So we're actually announcing the winners for the contest, and I believe David, our marketing guy, just did the release online. But I can actually read the winners real quick here, because I almost forgot. So the winners are. Let me move you here. So let's see here. So the winners for the contest for the goodies, we have a Joe Bossy. Let's see, David Sandline, and then you, Daryl. Daryl is Nardi. Am I pronouncing that correctly? I have a Jasmine Hernandez, and then a Chris Yeager. There were 6 winners that we picked out. There was a lot of submissions, so just be aware this is not the only one, guys. We're going to be doing more from here, but we'll be posting up the names again just so everyone can see, and as well as the videos that were submitted. But other than that, those are the winners, and you'll see them on our Facebook page, and we'll be reaching out to you guys directly. But just know that this isn't the only one. We're going to be planning to do these once a month. So this is for this month, and then we're going to do one next month, and so on. So, but yes, let me close this here. Let's see here. Yeah. So Daryl, you are the winner. We'll be contacting you from the email that you gave us, just to send us your shipping address and everything. But yeah, you got some goodies. We're going to let you know what it is in the email. Let's see here. But other than that, I want to say personally, thank you guys for submitting all your videos. It was really nice and just awesome to see everyone enjoying their stuff and what people do to them and with them. So let's see here. Yeah, awesome. But I think I could say. Oh, I just got. Okay, so yeah, so what we're giving away to the winners is a T-shirt and some decals and stuff like that. And I think I'm trying to grab something else, but other than that, it's going to be a T-shirt and some decals, American flag, and a bunch of the confetti stickers. So, but we'll have some more cool stuff that I'm trying to work on for next month, and it's just going to keep getting better from there. All right, But I can keep going here if you guys want me to. If you're unsure, anybody that's hopping in, if you guys want to keep seeing me install this, the axle kit here, into the slash, just let me know. I already installed the one side, and I'll spin freely. But if you guys want to see more detailed stuff on as far as how it's installed, I will be having a how-to video that's going to be attached to the kit itself, the 18140, in the instructions tab. But if you guys have any questions right now, as far as like right in front of me. Just let me know, anybody that's hopping in, if you guys have any questions, because I did install the one side on. Let's see if we got anybody here. I'm just going to keep going here then. Let's see here. Anybody have any questions here? I'm finishing the other side here. Yes, please do. Okay, Nick, I'll keep going here. Let's see. So we're going to take off this 3mm screw here. Let me see my fingers. There you go. I'm going to take it all the way off. So take the screw. Always remember to kind of put your stuff aside because, you know, things fall off the table constantly. But now that we got the one side off the hub assembly, we'll go ahead again. So we'll go ahead and turn the light a little bit more so you can actually see. So what we'll do here is we'll pull this off, slide it off. You have the one spacer. We're going to hold on to those. Don't ever throw anything away. It's not worth it. But you got the hub assembly off. And then we have that other spacer that was on the inside, or that shim, excuse me, not spacer. They're both all shims, the stock Teflon shims. We got the old axle out. Throw that aside. And then from there, you just got to put the rest on here. So I already got, let me see here. So you have the two spacers. I don't know. Here, let me push this back down a little bit. There we go. Let's let that in. I've had the I've had the axles in my Traxxas 4x4 for over a year, no problems at all. That's awesome. But Nick, so here's those 2mm spacers, not shims, because they're thick. Shims are going to be they're thin, so thin shims. But as far as the spacers, you have one that goes on the diff side, and then you have one that goes on the axle side, in between the two bearings. So we're going to set those down here, but we got the axle already set up. We got the hub. What we'll do now is I'm just going to move this thing aside real quick. Move the leaves that fell off the car. So from here, we'll go ahead and just pop these off. Let me see here. So all right, guys, I was doing a feed and I got disconnected. So wait for some people to jump on here. Let's see. Waiting for more people to jump on. I got disconnected before, so wait for a few more minutes for people to hop on here. All right. All right, guys. Well, I was doing a live feed a few minutes ago, and I got disconnected, so I'm hopping back on. But we're installing the 18140 X-Duty kit for the two-wheel drive Slash, and I've already got this installed here. But as far as if you have any questions on how this was installed, just point it out to me now, and then I can actually start it over. Let me see here. I got my parts here. Here, just give me a sec. Waiting for more people to jump on here. So what we'll do here is I will lay this out. If you guys want to see how the axles were installed again, just let me know. But yeah, so this spacer slides in here. Let's see here. There we go. So spacer slides in there. The 2mm spacer that goes between the two bearings. So once you have that dropped in, you go ahead and slide this in. Boom, snaps in. You got the spacer in there. It's all ready to go. What we'll do next is we'll go ahead and what I do is I'll get this unit set up. So we'll slide it in there. And then the wheel hex. So the side that actually goes towards the bearing is going to be this raised ridge right here, this side. This goes towards the bearing. So we're going to slide this like this. Let's see here if you can see it. So that side should be pointing out. like that. And then once you got that all set up, you take your 1.5 here, and then you go ahead and put some thread gel on it. As far as how much, just be generous with it, but thread gel for the set screws. And then what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and lock it into place. I just hold it one side like so, and I lock it in. Get it tight. Doesn't have to be super tight because you remember the wheel's holding it on. So we got it all set on there, and then we'll go ahead and just make sure it spins freely. From there, this unit's ready to go. This side, excuse me. And then what we'll do now is we have the drive hub and the female bone that we need to put on the car. So you put the 1 2mm spacer in the rear hub carrier, and then what we'll do next is we'll go ahead and put it on the other side, which we still have to take off the old axle. So I'm going to try and do this the best as possible so you guys can see. Take the 1.5. From there, we'll go ahead and slide it underneath. I usually just do it right underneath here is fine, just to get that set screw out. Go from there. Let's see here. Get that all the way out there. And then I'll grab a pair of pliers because that little 3mm pin set screw is kind of hard to grab onto. There's that. And then let's see. Make sure. Okay. So we got the stock axle off. Throw that aside because it's terrible. We don't want it. We want some good strong ones. And so now that we got that off, that is all clear. See how it's all free? But what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and take that 2mm spacer, if I can find it. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Yeah, but we'll go ahead and take that 2mm spacer. That goes on the diff output itself. So we're going to tip this over here so you can see. Oh, go like that. So we'll go ahead and then we'll move the light over a little bit more so you can actually see. There we go. X-Duty axles are always my first Traxxas upgrade. Awesome. Awesome, Joseph. So we'll slide that 2mm spacer on the diff output like that. So it's all snapped on there. We'll move that down, but that's on there. And then we can go ahead and put the female bone and the drive hub on the side. So we'll go here, line up the holes, and we'll set that down for just a moment here. Get the stock stuff out of the way. Grab the 2mm, take that 4mm grub screw, and then we'll add some of the thread gel again, just to make sure that the axles do not, or the set screw doesn't come out. But like I said, for people hopping in or hopping on, always make sure when you go to install these axles on the car, or any type of MIP axles in any car, you want to make sure you use any type of brake cleaner or rubbing alcohol or nitro cleaner to clean the surface of the part so it allows it to cure and lock down onto it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to locate the, let's see here. Let's take this off. It's not lining up. And spin it here so it lines up with the pinhole. Drop the screw. But let's see here. There's that. Did you guys have any questions or anything? Any questions at all? We'll take this. Go ahead and lock that down. You got the one side on, you go ahead and put the other grub screw in it. So you have that other, the other grub screw. Daniel, any plans to offer a smaller metric nut driver for scaled wheel nuts on beadlocks for colors 3.5 millimeter? Okay. We actually were looking into like the little 2 mil one. Is that one pretty popular, like the 3.5? Daniel? Let's see, I got people making comments and stuff. There we go. Yes. Okay, cool. Thanks, Daryl. Just making sure everybody's following, can see everything clearly, and I'm going to try and finish this as best as possible so I don't get disconnected again. Okay, we're going to put that other side in, lock it down. Again, when you're going to lock down the screws, yeah. Nick, I'm back. I lost connection there, but I'm back again. So once you get the set screws all set in there, but hey Nick, I know that when you were originally watching, you had a question on some stuff. I had already reinstalled the other one. I put the spacer in between the two bearings and the hub carrier. Were you okay? Give it a sec. There's some like delay. So next, my hobby shop recommends MIP all the time. That's awesome, Daryl. Thanks. It's awesome. So what we'll do next is we'll put a little grease in the splines. Again, like I said, if you're running into any snow or any type of sand like that, it does not matter. Lubing the parts is what's going to allow it to work properly. So not putting any grease on there is probably not the best thing because it's trying to keep sand out. But if you clean your axles every probably 3 to 4 runs, depending on how many times you go, it's really not going to matter because if you clean it up, you won't have to deal with that sand or anything like that. But once you got the axles all slid in, which it's all in there, making sure that those pinholes line up, you go ahead and put it on the lower rear mount. Let's see here. Is that spacer to keep the pressure on the bearings, Nick? Yes. The spacer for both here and the rear hub carrier and the diff output, that is for the allowing the ultimately the spacer in between here is called a crush tube, and that allows the bearing to actually spin freely. Traditionally, Traxxas cars don't come with that spacer just because they don't. They have the really long stub axle, and then they have those really thin Teflon shims, and it just slides back and forth. There's a lot of slop. So they don't use, that's why they're able to get away with not using a crush spacer or crush tube for the rear hub carrier. So, but when you buy like an Associated or TLR or Losi or HPR or Kyosho, any type of brand of car, any type of two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, a lot of times they're going to have a crush tube in there for the bearing to actually spin properly. But good question, Nick. So once you get that all set, like I said, anybody else that's dropping in, this hinge pin actually goes in the lowest hole on the rear hub carrier, and that'll allow for the proper plunge of the drive shaft to move up and down. 2.5 here. Let's see here. So we'll go ahead and lock this in here. And then once we got that all good, we're going to use the screw to put the camber link back on. Let's see here. So we'll go ahead and lock that back on. Use the 2 mil again. Do that. I hope you guys can see here. Do these work with RPM parts, Nick? Yes, they do. Just be aware, like I said, with the spacers, a lot of times our axle kits are designed for the stock parts. So what will happen here, let me finish this here. Lock it in. So get that going for you. Okay. There's that. So that's all set up there. But yeah, so Nick, to answer your question, the spacers, if you have RPM hubs or any type of aftermarket hubs, just be aware a lot of times that that spacer may not properly put pressure on the bearing because the tolerances, the spacing between, let me show you. So the spacing between these two bearings here, a lot of times with aftermarket parts, they'll either be larger or smaller. So that 2 mil spacer that we provide in the kit may not work right away. You just have to, usually what happens a lot of times, it's very rare, but with the RPM rear hub carriers, since their sizing is a little bit larger to kind of beefing up the hub itself, you might have to actually use one of these thin Teflon shims off the stock axles and put it in with the spacer in between there. That'll allow that difference of spacing is off by like a few thousandths for it to actually spin freely like it is right now. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see here. Hello, Justin. Thanks for dropping in here. But yeah, so once that's all mounted up here, you make sure everything's all nice and tight. But you want it to basically spin freely. So we want it to no binding at all. And to test that again, we'll go ahead and mount the rear tire on it. So we have a rear tire. We're going to go like this. We're going to make sure that it pops on the hex. There you go. And then wheel nut, the stock wheel nut. And we'll use the 7 mil nut driver. Let's see here. They need to transfer load of the wheel. Daniel, load to the wheel, but tightening to the base, the stub axle, though, without crushing the bearings, hence the spacer to take the load. Thanks, Daniel. That's pretty much another way of summing it up. But yeah, so we got the axles all set up in the truck. So make sure that it spins freely, which it does. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it here. I'll probably take a moment and put the front tires back on here. Do you guys have any questions at all? I'll put the front tires back on here. Let's see what we got going on. Okay, so we got the front on. Do you guys have any more questions at all? We're probably going to cut it off here for today, but just want to make sure that I answer any more questions that you guys may have. So I'll take that off. Alrighty. Well, guys, I got this thing all set up here. Do you guys have any questions at all? Got this thing all set up. This thing's ready to lock and ready to load with the brushless system and the XGD kit, all ready to drop, ready to rock and roll. Let's see. MIP, any plans for tool bag to hold all the tools for on the go? Yes, we have that on the list. We're trying to come up with an idea if we want to do like a cool leather pouch, maybe something that it's a lot more durable than the traditional zip-up ones, and it kind of goes with the whole concept of the amber handles and like the whole precision design of the tools, machinists and stuff like that. But we are working on it, Daniel. Just keep watching our Facebook and basically all the social media avenues, and as well as our website. And if you're subscribed to our website as well, we post up updates as well on releases. So if you haven't done it already, you can put your email in there, and then that way you get all the updates and all the new product being released. But also too, we work with a lot of the certified dealers, MIP certified dealers, to be updated on new releases. So Nick, thanks for all the info. Thanks for watching, Nick. Definitely the tool bag is a must, just because, as the more that we expand the variety of tools, it's going to be, let's see here. But yeah, so the more that we expand the line of tools, the more reason to make a tool bag. So let me see here. Got any more? Yeah. So Joseph, we just started doing a rewards program. We're just basically just trying it out right now to see how it goes. But yeah, so we're offering reward points for any purchases you make with MIPonline.com. Daniel, we'll do. Yep, definitely. Daryl, I need a 17 mil pretty bad for wheel nuts. 17 mil wrench, you mean, right? And then Nick. Yeah, Nick, we're just started offering some reward points for the customers. It's just kind of we're just basically just testing the waters right now. We appreciate feedback on it. You guys feel like it's pretty easy to use because we're trying to grow the website more and more accessible for everyone. So, but yeah, definitely go on there and just check it out. Let us know what you think. And then as far as new product releases, feel free, like I said, to subscribe to the website for the most and updates on the new releases. So let me see what we got here. Let's see. Okay, cool. David just posted that up there. Do we have to order direct, or can you be on Amazon also? MIP does not deal with Amazon right now. All of our MIP certified dealers that do sell through other avenues of like eBay or Amazon, we have them listed on our dealer map on who's a certified dealer. And if any dealers that are watching this that want to sign up as a dealer to sell MIP products, feel free to contact the sales at miponline.com. So let me see here. Same question here, Nick. Just bought some through MIP Amazon page. Again, we do not offer or sell any MIP products through Amazon. That is through other dealers or people that sell our products that we do not deal with unless they are a certified dealer, which we have all that information on our dealer map, as well as you can contact us directly to find out who's who. So I hope that answers the question. But other than that, guys, I think that's going to be pretty much it. If anybody else wants to chime in anything else, because I think we got 7 people left. I think that's it. Well, again, guys, thanks for everything. Like I said, we did announce the winners of the giveaway contest for the video submissions, and we also took some photos too from people. But we announced those on our Facebook page. Feel free to check those out and get ready for next month. Thanks for watching, guys.